failures, rejections, inequalities, physical sufferings, and illnesses. All these adversities are part of human existence. It does not matter what your identity, financial condition, or which assets you own. Sooner or later, you will face challenging moments and deal with intense emotions throughout life. Inevitably, you will have to say goodbye to loved ones and also confront the certainty of death. But how can you strengthen the mind to face all of this? Although these universal realities awaken fear and are frequently ignored, pretending they do not exist does not make them disappear. On the contrary, this denial weakens us and makes us even more exposed when difficulties arise. Stoicism proposes a different approach: to mentally prepare oneself intentionally and in advance for the challenges that life imposes on us. By exercising your mind consciously, you develop an internal resistance capable of facing even the harshest trials with firmness. The collection of writings by Seneca, Letters to Lucilius, is widely recognized for bringing valuable reflections and practical guidance on how to cultivate a resilient mind. Lucius Annaeus Seneca was an influential thinker, politician, and Roman playwright who lived between 4 BCE and 65 CE. He is considered one of the central figures of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches how to strengthen the mind and adaptability, allowing us to face life's challenges with serenity and balance. In this video, we present 6 teachings based on Seneca's philosophy to develop an unshakable mind. These principles can help you create a solid mental state and the necessary skills to overcome adversities with courage and determination. Before diving into this enriching content, do not forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so, and activate notifications so you do not miss any valuable lessons. After all, this knowledge can transform your life. 1. Give total attention to a single task. Seneca states, "To be everywhere is the same as to be nowhere." His philosophy highlights the importance of fully living the present and dedicating oneself entirely to what is being done. Trying to be in several places at the same time means dispersing the mind, which prevents us from truly connecting with what is in front of us. This habit of dividing attention creates a feeling of disconnection and harms the depth of experience. In the digital era, the world seems to have no limits, and daily we are dragged into the culture of haste and excessive activities. Many people believe that performing several tasks at the same time is synonymous with productivity and efficiency. However, this practice can compromise our well-being and lead to mental exhaustion. Society frequently associates multiple projects with a sense of accomplishment, but rarely reflects on the negative impacts of this overload. Seneca recommends, instead, focusing completely on a single activity, increasing efficiency and reducing distractions. For example, when reading a book, he would advise us to focus exclusively on reading, without interruptions. By immersing ourselves in the words and eliminating external distractions, we extract greater meaning, better understand the content, and truly appreciate the reading experience. This form of mindful attention allows us to absorb knowledge with more depth and develop our intellect effectively. 2. Master your impulses. According to Seneca, philosophy teaches us to act, not just to speak. Every individual wishes to live in alignment with their values, ensuring that their conduct is in harmony with their words, and that their inner essence reflects their daily actions. He warned about the dangers of excessive surrender to impulsive desires, as he saw them as potential threats to moral integrity. For him, yielding to uncontrolled impulses could result in harmful attitudes, unethical decisions, and loss of self-discipline. Among all emotions, anger is one of the most harmful to our balance. Seneca believed that it arises from our difficulty in accepting or dealing with certain situations. He saw it as a kind of temporary madness that compromises our rationality, potentially generating lasting consequences, not only for ourselves but also for the environment around us. Thoughtless actions motivated by anger can cause irreversible damage. For example, imagine that you are working hard on the development of a line of sophisticated products, but your boss rejects all the items for reasons that seem merely personal. This provokes intense irritation, leading to a heated argument. Although you may feel that your indignation is completely legitimate, the way you react can bring undesirable consequences. After taking an impulsive action driven by anger, there is no turning back. Furthermore, we often carry this negative feeling into other areas of life, amplifying its destructive impacts. Imagine that, after a stressful day at work, you arrive home, and your wife complains because you left a wet towel on the bed. Without realizing it, you transfer all the accumulated frustration to this trivial situation, turning a small annoyance into an endless argument. However, we have the power to modify our mindset and adopt healthier strategies for dealing with intense emotions. Seneca, in his work, Letters to Lucilius, highlights the transformative impact of philosophical study. He points out that philosophy invites us to adopt a simpler lifestyle, aligned with reason and natural order. Moreover, it presents practical approaches to dealing with life's challenges in a balanced and calm manner. Seneca teaches that philosophy aids in the development of self-control and in the deepening of self-reflection. 3. Emotional discipline. By exercising emotional discipline, we strengthen our ability to avoid impulsive reactions. Similarly, by practicing introspection, we analyze more carefully the value of our impulses. This process allows us to make conscious decisions, rather than being guided solely by the momentary outburst of anger. An episode involving Seneca and Emperor Nero illustrates well the relationship between philosophy and its influence on emotional control. According to historical records, Nero, in a moment of rage, became furious with a servant who accidentally spilled food on him. Overcome with anger, he ordered that the subordinate be severely punished. Upon witnessing this scene, Seneca intervened and turned the episode into a valuable lesson. He encouraged Nero to reflect on his reaction and to consider whether his attitude was in tune with the principles of Stoicism, which advocate moderation and emotional mastery. Seneca advised the emperor to control his impulses and act with prudence in the exercise of power. This episode demonstrates how the philosopher used everyday situations to convey practical teachings and guide his disciples toward a path of greater wisdom. In this way, we realize how philosophy is essential for freeing us from the chains of anger and uncontrolled emotions. By adopting Stoic principles, we acquire tools that enable us to lead a more balanced and fulfilling life. The great challenge is to avoid the automatism of instinctive reaction, and instead, act with clarity and discernment. If someone treats us with rudeness and we respond with patience and serenity, we are demonstrating our understanding of the importance of self-control. Many times, the natural tendency would be to react in the same manner, returning the hostility received. However, the true challenge lies in abandoning this impulsiveness and opting for conduct that generates more positive results, born from reflection and balance. The change in our behavior occurs gradually and is the reflection of the mental discipline that we cultivate over time. 4. Be prepared. Quoting Seneca, "Visualize in your mind exile, pain, war, and shipwreck. All aspects of human existence must be before our eyes." The philosopher frequently explored the idea that everything in life is temporary, including our possessions, emotional bonds, and even our own body. By understanding this reality, we manage to reduce our attachment to what is external and focus more on the present. To illustrate this concept, imagine that you own a beautiful house with great sentimental value. By meditating on the fact that this home is temporary and may eventually be lost or destroyed, you detach yourself from material possessions and learn to value the present more, instead of living in constant worry about future losses. This practice, known as negative visualization, was one of the pillars of Seneca's thought and plays a fundamental role in strengthening resilience. The exercise consists of deliberately reflecting on adverse scenarios or on the possibility of losing something important to us. By practicing it, we not only cultivate gratitude for what we already have, but also mentally prepare ourselves to deal with life's inevitable difficulties. Think, for example, about your car. To apply negative visualization, take a moment to imagine what it would be like to lose it, whether due to theft, an accident, or even a conscious choice to donate it. By visualizing these events and allowing yourself to feel the associated emotions, you will become more prepared for eventual losses, reducing emotional dependence on this possession. Furthermore, this method can be applied to various areas of life, such as relationships, health, and career. You can, for example, reflect on possible conflicts in an emotional bond, the challenges of facing a health problem, or the difficulties and setbacks that may arise in your professional path. By dedicating a few minutes every morning to this practice, you incorporate a powerful philosophical exercise into your routine, developing greater emotional stability and clarity in the face of life's challenges. You can also turn to the technique of negative visualization to confront your own finitude. Seneca argued that by reflecting on our death, we acquire a deep perception of the transience of existence. This mental exercise reminds us that our time is finite and motivates us to live with intention and full awareness. By imagining our own mortality, we understand the ephemerality and vulnerability of life. This understanding helps us set aside insignificant worries, redirecting our energy toward what truly has value. Reflecting on the brevity of life awakens in us a sense of urgency to pursue our aspirations, cultivate meaningful bonds, and leave a positive impact on the world. It inspires us to prioritize experiences instead of material possessions and to nurture a genuine sense of gratitude for the present. We begin to value the people and opportunities around us more, as well as face challenges with greater firmness and determination. Practicing negative visualization and mentally anticipating potential difficulties not only strengthens gratitude for what we have, but also gives us the chance to take preventive measures to minimize setbacks. Moreover, this approach empowers us to face challenges with more preparedness and serenity if they arise. This method stimulates a mental state of readiness and flexibility, strengthening our confidence and posture in the face of life's uncertainties. Accept challenges intentionally. Seneca once stated, "Difficulties strengthen the spirit, just as physical effort strengthens the body." Despite being one of the wealthiest men in the Roman Empire, he deliberately chose a modest lifestyle. During certain periods of the month, he wore simple clothes and ate frugally. This choice was not motivated by financial necessity, but rather by the intention to discipline his desires and avoid dependence on fleeting comforts. Seneca sought to expand his appreciation for what he already possessed, and, more than that, to develop the courage needed to face future adversities. This ancient technique, known as voluntary discomfort, involves intentionally challenging oneself and facing situations that push us out of our comfort zone. This practice is a powerful strategy to strengthen the mind. He compared it to physical exercise, which shapes and strengthens muscles. In the same way, subjecting oneself to voluntary difficulties represents a mental training that makes us more resilient. By deliberately facing challenges and consciously exposing ourselves to discomfort, we develop self-discipline, emotional endurance, and gratitude, shaping a mindset that thrives even in the face of obstacles. To illustrate, imagine someone who is terrified of public speaking, a very common fear. Instead of avoiding these situations, this person chooses to confront their fear by practicing voluntary difficulties. They sign up for public speaking groups or volunteer to present projects at work. At first, the experience may be uncomfortable and cause anxiety. However, by repeatedly exposing themselves to this scenario, they strengthen their self-confidence and determination. With each speech given, they push past their limits, learn to control nervousness, improve their communication, and develop resilience to handle unforeseen situations. Over time, by intentionally challenging themselves in this aspect, the person reduces the influence of fear and increases their ability to handle future difficulties. It is worth noting that the practice of voluntary difficulties is not limited to overcoming specific fears. You can adopt small adversities in daily life, such as going out without a coat in the cold, turning off the air conditioning, taking cold showers, fasting occasionally, or sleeping without a pillow. The central point is to actively choose challenging experiences that expand your resilience and test your limits. By intentionally accepting discomforts, we develop a mind more prepared to face unexpected setbacks, as well as realize that many of the things we once feared are not as frightening as they seemed. 5. Escape the victim mentality. According to Seneca, it is not the events that affect us, but rather the interpretation we give to them. He emphasized the relevance of the dichotomy of control and the concept of amor fati to avoid falling into the role of a victim. The dichotomy of control refers to the separation between what we can influence and what is beyond our reach. Seneca argued that, although external circumstances are outside our domain, we have full capacity to manage our thoughts, attitudes, and reactions. Amor fati, which translates as acceptance of fate, is a Stoic principle that invites us to embrace every event in life, regardless of how difficult or challenging it may be. Instead of resisting or trying to escape adversities, this perspective teaches us to accept and even value them. recognizing in them opportunities for evolution, learning, and growth. Nowadays, it is very common to adopt a victimization posture, avoiding taking responsibility for one's own results. Negatively interpreting others' attitudes or unexpected situations can trap us in a cycle of self-pity. With the strong influence of social media, many end up falling into the trap of believing everything they see, especially the illusions of happiness and success widely propagated. You have probably come across seemingly perfect relationships on the internet that ended in divorce, or with investors and entrepreneurs who flaunt wealth but, in reality, rent cars and houses just to sell courses. Confusing the virtual world with reality puts us in a position of constant comparison, which can generate frustration and a sense of powerlessness. To illustrate Seneca's teachings, imagine that you dedicated yourself intensely to work and aspired to a promotion. However, when the decisive moment arrives, another person is chosen. Your initial reaction may be a feeling of injustice, leading you to blame your superiors. This type of thinking reflects a victim posture, in which you see yourself as a hostage to circumstances beyond your reach. However, Seneca would advise against nurturing these negative emotions. Instead, he would encourage applying the dichotomy of control and amor fati. By recognizing that the manager's choice is beyond your control, you can redirect your focus to what you can change, your posture, mindset, and actions. Rather than dwelling on frustration, choose a more strategic and empowered outlook. With amor fati, you can interpret this situation as a stimulus for growth, identifying areas for improvement and seeking new ways of professional evolution. Instead of cultivating resentment or blaming others, accept reality as it is and learn from it, channeling your energy into self-development. Through the application of the dichotomy of control and the acceptance of amor fati, Seneca believed that we could overcome the victim mentality. In the face of external challenges, we can replace passivity and lamentation with empowerment and resilience. His teachings reinforce that our reactions and attitudes are our choices, and by embracing every aspect of our destiny, we find strength and purpose, even in the face of difficulties. 6. Value time in solitude. In our final quote from Seneca for this video, he advises, "Withdraw into yourself as much as possible." The philosopher highlighted the relevance of spending time alone as a means of strengthening the mind. He believed that by distancing oneself from external distractions and allowing solitude, a person could engage in introspection, deep reflection, and self-development. It is in solitude that we can confront our thoughts, feelings, and internal dilemmas, fostering self-knowledge and mental clarity. To incorporate this practice into your routine, it is essential to set aside periods dedicated exclusively to yourself. This may involve activities that stimulate reflection, such as keeping a journal or simply taking long walks in nature. By intentionally disconnecting from the noise and pressures of the external world, you create a space conducive to creativity, self-exploration, and continuous improvement. Imagine, for example, an overwhelmed professional immersed in an intense work environment, surrounded by people and constant demands. If he consciously decides to set aside moments of solitude, such as a few hours at night, he can create a refuge to reconnect with himself. During this time, he can review his goals, values, and aspects he wishes to develop. This pause allows him to analyze priorities, understand emotions, and evaluate decisions more consciously. With the regular practice of this introspection, he strengthens his mental health and deepens his understanding of himself. Seneca taught that spending time alone helps recharge the mind, gain valuable insights, and build a solid foundation of inner strength. This habit provides a space for self-analysis and personal progress, contributing to a more balanced and meaningful life. One of the most effective ways to use solitude to strengthen the mindset is to invest in continuous learning and expand knowledge, whether intellectual or practical. Small daily changes generate great transformations. You will never change your life until you modify something you do frequently. And if you enjoyed this content, do not forget to share it with someone who may benefit from these ideas. Help us spread this timeless wisdom. Now, if you want to delve even deeper into Stoicism, just click on one of the suggested videos on the screen. Thank you for watching.